Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for this upcoming full moon that's occurring on July 21st, 2024. I'm going to break it down for each life path number and see what the energies have in store. Before we get into that, this is a general forecast. If you would like a personalized forecast or numerology reading for your own numerology and your own energies, please book some time with me. I would love to work with you. My information is in the description box below. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that the algorithm knows to promote this little channel and help it to grow. Really appreciate your support, and thank you so much for being here. All right, let's take a look. 33 sixes. So you're going to be working with the vibration of the 51-6. So of course your own vibration of the 6, but you've also got this influencing energy of the 51. And this is significant. So with that 51 energy, this can be a little bit of a heavier, I don't want to say more difficult energy to move through, but it can bring up opposition. It can kind of bring up some obstacles that we really weren't expecting. It can bring up obstacles in places where we really were not expecting there to be obstacles. Again, it can bring in competition. It can bring in sort of showing us where we've got some enemies that we didn't know that we had, right? Or some people who feel like they're in competition with us, even if we don't feel like we're in competition with them. It can bring up those rivals. So there can be some things that we need to work through with this energy. And we have a choice. Are we going to become reactionary? Are we going to become, hostile and sort of meet people where they're at on that in that energy? Or can we rise above it in some way and remember that we choose how we participate? So, if it's not, this is a general reading, so not everybody's going to come up against this opposition or this confrontation, but it is very possible, especially if there's something you really want to achieve. It is likely that you will, face obstacles that have to do with rivals, other people vying for the same position or wanting what you have, or etc. And sort of that envy coming out in a more hostile way. Or it can be people just sort of pushing up against you to push your buttons. And, and through that process, it can show you, as much as people hate to hear this, but it can show you what you're capable of. It can show you what you're made of, type of thing. So as frustrating as it is to have these rivals or this competition or this sort of conflict, right? Where we don't need to have conflict, but where it sort of shows up in opposition, can kind of show us that we're capable of rising above it. We're capable of choosing how we participate and doing it in a better way. So I would be really careful at this time, for the period, I would say, of a couple weeks around this full moon, of any disagreements, any hostilities, anything that can kind of result in separation or sort of escalating a situation. For you all, this is going to be a period of de-escalation, like finding great conflict resolution, of being the bigger person, of showing up in a way that is, rising above the negativity. Definitely going to be a period where you want to continue to tap into that more positive outlook, your optimism, and to continue to find ways to sort of see the divinity within people, even when their actions suck, right? So still have that love for people, even when their actions are shitty. So, and that takes a lot of practice. But as a 33, this is all part of your journey, as a part of everyone's journey, but really as a 33, it's part of the training field for what you're being asked to step into, and sort of embody. But I do think this could be a period that could feel a little bit more challenging, where again, there's some opposition and sort of points of contention that you just weren't expecting. You just didn't think there were issues there, that could rise up. So it would just be really, again, you're probably going to be called to be the bigger person in a lot of these situations and not sacrifice yourself or your beliefs or anything like that, but be very mindful of how you respond. This is not a time to be reactionary. If any situation, and though the world or others might be pushing your buttons at this time, I would say, find the off switch. Just don't let it create the charge, because, with this vibration, it is possible that you would be the one that would end up being responsible for that charge, right? That sort of electrified charge of your emotions coming out in some way. So find healthy ways to express yourself, healthy ways to move through the emotions, however they show up. It is interesting though, because this energy also promises that, if you can show up in a way that sort of guards against any harsh actions against another, that you'll be rewarded with that, right? The justice will be found, and, the truth will come out over that situation. So you might have to be the bigger person in this moment, but it will balance out, right? It will find you again in a good way, type of thing. So maintain your cool, stay neutral as much as possible, be impartial. And yeah, I would say just try to become the observer in these more difficult situations where you're seeing it for what it really is, right? When people lash out at us, when people are vindictive, when people take harsh or cruel actions against us, at the heart of that is because this person is in pain. This person is, moving through their own dark night of the soul, and they don't know how to manage it in a healthy way. And so they're lashing out, and we just happen to be in the sort of path of that. We can certainly remove ourselves from that path, right? We don't have to participate. But I think this is going to be sort of a testing period for some of you, where it's going to sort of put you under that fire, and it's going to ask you, what are you going to do? How are you going to remain calm and impartial and neutral? And how are you going to de-escalate the situation where you don't become reactionary, where you can feel that trigger, obviously, right? You can feel that emotion, but how are you going to manage it, and how are you going to work through it in a healthy way so that it can actually bring about more healthy and constructive results as opposed to destructive? If you can stay on the right side, and what I mean by that is the right side of being, doing what's best for all involved. Sometimes that means removing ourselves from the situation, right? But if we can stay on that in that vibration of doing what's right as opposed to what our ego wants us to do, then you're going to reap the rewards for that. And this energy is trying to show you that. If you sort of meet that negativity or that reaction with the same, you're going to get, it's going to spiral out of control pretty quickly. But yeah, if you can kind of stay sort of in the mindset of doing what's right, you will overcome any rivals. You will overcome any of this sort of more challenging energy. At the end of the day, just observe, be the observer. It's your experience, but try to be the observer within that experience. Try to see it for what it really is, and then decide how you want to respond. Follow your intuition, follow your heart, and you will get the greatest results out of this illumination. Wish I could say that there was some, great things coming in, but and it's not that there's not. It's just this vibration brings about the obstacles that have to be overcome, that is going to bestow you with just incredible amounts of wisdom about yourself, about others, about the world, that you would not be able to tap into fully without the experiences of this opposition or these obstacles or whatever. So just a heads up. And again, it's a general reading. Some of you may not have to even move through something like that, and you might just have to hold space for someone who is. But either way, it can be a little bit of a challenging vibration, but is pushing you to step into your own personal authority and your own personal sort of wisdom in continuing to find the justice, not only for self, but for others as well, in a world that's full of injustices. So interesting energy here, but again, I expect that for 33s. So I hope it's a great one. Take care, 33s. Let me know how it shows up for you. Take care. Bye for now.